20,000. It's a traditional football ground, as I said the other night, nearly a week ago when Burnley took on Watford. It's a really proper football ground. And a tremendous rapturous applause for all four corners of turf. More than a few thousand Arsenal fans who have made the trip. I would wager something in the region of about 2,500. And Phil Walcott is demanding form, plenty of goals in his last few games. He got 2 in midweek in Europe. As Arsene Wenger makes his long walk out down the old traditional tunnel area at Burnley. 20 years ago, he took charge of Arsenal for the first time, ironically, for 6 miles down the M65 against Blackburn Rovers, would you believe? And they actually won 2-0 that day, thanks to 2 goals from Ian Wright. 20 years now he's been in charge. He's one of the bookies' favourites to replace Sam Allardyce as England manager. But it's at his age, at his time of life, is it too late for him now? Anyway, let's take a check on the two teams, and we're going to start with Burnley. Tom Heaton, as expected, would start in goal, ever present, also the captain. The back four also is unchanged. Matt Loughton, Michael Keane and Ben Mead are 2 centre-backs, and Stephen Ward on the left, and on the right, incidentally. And the midfield, and as again, we're going to 2 older midfielders, and that's Mr. Dean Marney and Jeff Henrik. Jeff Henrik got a goal on his home debut against... on his full home debut against Watford. And then the 3 further forward, Johan Bergkamp, George Boyd, either side of Stephen Defoe, who's been magnificent, and some folks who did a manful job up front on Monday night against Watford is in attack. So for Arsenal then, Petr Cech is in goal for them. Very good goalkeeper, still going strong at his considerable age. Back four today of Bellerin, Mustafi, Koscielny and Monreal. Mustafi, of course, is the German international. The back, again, like at Burnley, they're going 2 older midfielders. That's Sandy Cazorla and Granit Xhaka, who scored a couple of worldies in the last few weeks or so. And further forward, you've got Walcott, Iwobi and Ozil, with Alexis Sanchez leading the line up front. So there we are. So both teams playing 4-5-1, and the substitutes for Burnley: Robinson, Flanagan, Tarkowski, O'Neill, Arfield, Catley and Bamford. For Arsenal: Ospina, Holding, Gabriel, Gibbs, LME, Oxlade-Chamberlain and Rennie Adelaide. So we're all set to go then at Turf Moor. Final Premier League game of the weekend. Clarets Match Live. It's all about Arsene Wenger at the moment. 20 years in charge of the Gunners. I wouldn't have envisaged that 20 years ago when he took over and replaced Bruce Rioch at Highbury as he was then. But Sean Dyche respects what Wenger's done. He even said in a press conference, Dyche, he said that he would back, if Arsene Wenger became England manager, he would actually back him in what he would do in that sort of respect. So we'll see what comes to that. Remember, United and Stoke drew 1-1 earlier today. Leicester and Southampton finished goalless. Manchester City have been turned over 2-0 against Tottenham and has thrown the title race well and truly wide open. And here we are at Turf Moor, about to kick off. Burnley and Claret and Blue, they're going to attack the David Fishwick stand. And off we go. Ashley says, give me a good game and cheer me up after the United Stoke game. Well, we'll do our best for you, Ashley. I can't promise anything what goes out on the pitch, but we'll try and give you a good commentary nevertheless. And away we go then. Arsenal in the yellow shirts, they're going to attack the Jimmy McIlroy stand to my left-hand side. And Burnley like to attack that in the second half, of course. So Burnley more or less unchanged from that fantastic result against Watford. Really, and that result in a way on Monday night has really took the pressure off. They've had a lot more time to prepare for this game than what Arsenal have had. Remember, they've had a European game in midweek, but Phil Walcott is hungry for games. He's again on the right hand side where he did a lot of the damage on Wednesday night. Tom Heaton, the Burnley goalkeeper. It's a goal kick, incidentally. what an atmosphere around the ground. Turf Moor absolutely full to bursting again, and 2,000 or so, 2,500 to 3,000 or so Arsenal fans will make it for a real carnival atmosphere, a real lethal cocktail of an atmosphere. Here's Loughton on the right hand side for Burnley, tries to get Bogs in behind there, and Munson right behind. He thinks it should be a throw to Burnley. Linesman's given the decision the other way. Referee incidentally is Craig Pawson. Let's hope he has a decent game. As we saw on Monday, as you may have heard on Friday night when we covered the Everton Palace game, there was one or two contentious decisions from Jonathan Moss. Should there have been a free kick on for the Everton goal? But wait a moment, there's a chance here for Iwobi, one of the young lads that have just broken into the side in the last sort of 6 months or so. It was a mistake by Keane on the edge of his own penalty area. Just a little bit of experience there. First of all, it was a mistake by Ward and then by Keane. It wasn't a strong enough clearance, and in the end, Iwobi, thankfully from a Burnley point of view, his clearance was a bit wayward as well. But the pressure's off Burnley in a way. As I say, they've had more time to prepare. They've come into this on the back of a crucial win against Watford, and you'd think Watford will be more of relegation rivals. They drew 2-2 yesterday. It's basically given them a free hit in cricketing terms, in one-day cricketing terms, because I mean, these are 3 bonus points. But remember when they took on Liverpool and beat them at their own game, and that's Liverpool's only defeat, and they're 1 point behind Manchester City now. So some of these big teams do not like coming to Turf Moor, as Boyd tries to cross him from the left-hand side by the byline, but Arsenal clear it away inside their own box with considerable ease. Of course, this is the last club game for at least a couple of weeks on the YouTube channel, where it'll be back to covering the England saga again, and what a saga it has been. The Sam Allardyce issues and all that stuff. The sting from the Daily Telegraph. He lost his job earlier on this week, and well, they've got a tough match next Saturday afternoon, and you'll be able to hear that with us from Wembley. There's 4 games that Gareth Southgate has as England caretaker boss. Here's a chance now for Bellerin to come forward. He's one of the most fastest, he's actually the fastest player in the Arsenal club, and he's really got pace to burn. As Sanchez now inside the penalty area. Sanchez shoots, deflection, and just goes wide at the far post. Got a bit of a deflection as well, but Sanchez here showing his quality here, the Chilean international. Gets it on there, and it takes a deflection off Ben Mee, I think, and just takes it wide of Tom Heaton's far post here. Could have gone anywhere, but I think Tom Heaton might have actually had that one covered anyway. I think it's a goal kick he's getting. I think it could have been an Arsenal player last. There's Arsene Wenger, Steve Bold alongside him to the right of the picture. Goal kick it is, been going in fact, not a corner. And Tom Heaton, right-footed ball, get it away up towards Sam Folks, just to the left of the field, and the game being played now on the far side. Ball switched out there, but well intercepted there by Johan Berger Munson, who after his exploits in the Euros should be used to the big game experience. And in comes Jeff Henrique. He's got Folks up ahead, and Folks might get a break here. Sam Folks shoots right-footed, and he goes wide of the far post of Petacek. I think he had more time than he thought, Sam Folks. And really, Burnley have to take these opportunities when they come. He was just about onside, closer on thing for the offside. In fact, he was offside. I didn't see the flag there initially, so maybe Folks was spared a little bit of blushes there. Well, 3 kick to Arsenal, but it was a tight thing for the offside, I have to say. Petacek with the kick, left-footed, and one there by Gudmundsson. And again, Martin going in with another header within the second ball. Folks down to Henrik, centre of the field. Oh, that was a dicey ball to play across there. Could have been easily intercepted there, but in the end it's back with Tom Heaton in Burnley's goal. Kick is gone to the other end. Petacek just nonchalantly catches the ball and bowls it out very, very, what you call swiftly. Just to remind anyone who might be wondering what the Ryder Cup score is, I can tell you it's the latest I have is it's the USA's 9.5 to Europe's 6.5. But this is the final day of the Ryder Cup. It's been taking place in America, across the pond in Hazeltine. And can Rory Mac and Darren Clark and the boys pull off another miracle like they did in Medina 2 years ago? Any developments in the Ryder Cup, we'll let you know. We'll let you know. But at the moment, we're sticking very closely with the football. And Burnley versus Arsenal. Remember, earlier today, in case you missed it, Manchester United 1, Stoke 1. A late goal from Joe Allen saved a point there for the Potters. That could be a crucial moment in their season, which it hasn't gone up until today. Didn't really go well. They still haven't won a game yet, but that'll feel like a victory for them, going to Old Trafford and getting something. Leicester and Southampton finished 0-0 in a drab game by all accounts at the King Power. And then the big one at White Hart Lane earlier today, when Tottenham really threw the title race wide open with a 2-0 win over Manchester City. Goals from an own goal got them up and running, and then Dele Alli added a second. And Tottenham actually adapting to life pretty well without Harry Kane at the moment. Burnley have a throw right on halfway. Lawton to take it, and he gets it back from Defoe. Defoe again, infield to Marnie. Marnie just has to touch it back to Ben Mee, halfway inside his own half. Now Michael Keane has it again, being played out towards the right. Now Stephen Defoe. Long ball forward, up towards Sam Vokes. He was clattered there from behind, and it's a free kick about 10-15 yards inside the Arsenal half. It was Mustafi, the German international, with the foul challenge. Now the ball down the left hand side, a chance here for Boyd, but he's got his work cut out against the pacey Hector Bellerin. He reckons it should be a corner to Burnley, but referee Paulson decides it's a goal kick to Arsenal. Pressure is not on Sean Dyche like any other manager that might be expected to be at the bottom end. He's under no great pressure. Burnley aren't a sacking club. I haven't really got... They're happy with the manager that we've got, and I tell you what, Sean Dyche is probably one of the top 3 Burnley managers of all time. What he's achieved, the first promotion especially, on a budget of under £1 million, was just one of the most spectacular fairy stories I've ever encountered in years of watching or actually commentating on the game. And it's just one of those fairy stories that it came true. They only lost 2 games that season. They were both to Leicester and Middlesbrough. And the Middlesbrough one they should have won, but for 2 contentious penalty decisions they didn't get that day. But it didn't matter. When they were in the Premier League last, they failed to win their first 10 games, but they came within an hair's breadth of staying up though. But just couldn't get over the finishing line. Maybe they just needed maybe it was just one win in the early doors part of the season that they could have done with. They got 2 at this stage, and at least 3 or 4 points much better off than they were 2 years ago. When they were first up in 2009-10, they actually had a good first half of the season under Owen Coyle, and there was something like 10th or 11th around the turn of the year. They were certainly mid-table, lower mid-table, and doing okay, getting points necessary. Their home form was very, very good, and then Owen Coyle left, and it all went wrong under Brian Laws. Here's Stephen Defoe far side, and infield to Boyd, but Boyd can't control it, and easily muscled off the ball there. And here's Arsenal's chance to counter-attack. 0-0. Here's a Welby through the middle. He's got Ozil on the left hand side. Mesut Ozil now, the German international. Plays it infield once again to Granit Xhaka. And Xhaka plays it in. Welby's forward. Walcott trying to flick the ball on. Ben Mee intercepting a little bit nonchalant there, and it might still cost Burnley here. Shot coming in. Got a deflection of Michael Keane. It was Ozil with the shot, but Ben Mee there, that was silly defending really. He just tried to toe poke it when he should have really. That was just too casual for me from Ben Mee, and if you're watching it on the television screen, you can see the frustration that I've got with Ben Mee there. I think he's made a few mistakes so far when he's stepped up. He's a faultless championship defender, and this is why I think Dyche should have really signed a centre back for me, because I don't know if Ben Mee can cut it for 38 games during the season. He's done okay up until now, but if he keeps making little errors like that, he'll be found wanting. Here's Lowton. He's got Premier League experience, and a lovely through ball, which was just a little bit too strong for Sam Vokes. Otherwise, that was a really good run there down the right-hand side. He's just got in field there, Lowton. And now what we got at the other end, we got a Wellby at the other end now, breaking down the left-hand side. This game being played at a pretty good speed at the moment, a good tempo, good pace to it. Now Ben Mee needs to be better. His distribution there a couple of minutes ago was very substandard, and Mee just hooks it forward towards Sam Vokes, and he gets the free kick right on the halfway line to the left of the centre circle. 12 minutes of the first half gone. Burnley 0, Arsenal 0. If you'd like to comment on how you think the game's gone so far, or any of the other games that took place earlier, then you let me know. But obviously, as I say, it's keep your comments clean, keep your comments very respectable. And Tom Heaton, of all people, is going to take the free kick. In fact, he's just shy of halfway, about 5 yards inside his own half, in fact. And I think Burnley are going to have a go here. But more virtually 9 to 10 players forward. Ben Mee going forward from the back. That's a dangerous thing for Burnley to do. I would have thought you'd have left that for the two centre backs, but Tom Heaton took responsibility. Here's Lawton to Stephen Defoe. Defoe to the right of the halfway line. Gets it forward, up flicked on there. Will Boyd reach it? No. In fact, I think the whistle had gone against Sam Vokes, in fact. And a free kick to Arsenal with coming up towards 14 minutes gone at Turf Moor. I'll just keep you up to date with what's going on in the Golf Ryder Cup today. At the moment, as we check the scoreboard, the latest score we have is Europe 6.5 and the United States 9.5, but there's plenty to come. They tee off at 5 minutes past 5, so with Moira and McIlroy, and let's hope McIlroy and Co can actually pull off the miracle of Hazeltine in the same breath as they pulled off in Medina 24 months ago. Here's a chance now for Jeff Henrik through the midfield. A chance here now for Boyd. Boyd strikes it with the left foot from about 25 yards, just to the right, the left of the D, but strikes it past a pair of checks near post. Arsenal are just showing a little bit of immaturity there in gifted possession to the Clarets. It wasn't a good shot from Boyd. Petacek, I think, would have had it covered, and Jordan is in. He's made the page. Well, good afternoon to you, Jordan. Good to see you. And anybody who's expecting a FIFA 17 third career mode video, it's in the process of being edited together. I will painstakingly do it. I've also recorded episode 4 as well, and hopefully that'll be up as well within the next 24 hours as well. So plenty of activity on the YouTube channel, not to mention certainly in FIFA terms for the next 7 days, and the next live commentary will be the England match the next weekend. And it's 0-0 at the moment, and it's Matt Lowton to take the throw for Burnley. Jordan, I will come back to the Facebook thing at half time, my friend, so remind me near the half time interval when that happens. Anyway, Arsenal have it now with Walcott towards the far side, and it's the pacey Bellerin on the near side now for Arsenal. Back in field and given away rather carelessly there again by Arsenal. There, we saw them on opening day. We covered them on the opening day against Liverpool a good month and a half ago. And they were really sloppy defensively. No flag there, and the ball across the face from Theo Walcott down the right hand side, and a good opportunity there for Arsenal. They are good going forward, I'll say that about Arsenal, but what I will say is they are very suspect at the back. Walcott was onside as that ball was played into him, by the way. It was a good effort, but I think again Tom Heaton might have just had that far post covered. He has scored in his previous 3 appearances in all competitions, so he knows where the back of the net is alright. 16.5 minutes gone. Arsenal being held at Turf Moor by with a 0-0 scoreline, and here's a Welby again, just drifting out to the left hand side. He's got a chance here now from Nacho Monreal to have a canter forward, and he tries to lay in Welby, and the ball is loose around about the infield, around about a halfway point of the Burnley half. But Arsenal have got the possession, and it's a Welby now deep inside Burnley territory, and Alexis Sanchez now just dropping off, plays it to Ozil. Ozil has to knock it back to number 29 Granit Xhaka, who scored some terrific goals against Nottingham Forest and hosted it in the last few weeks as well. Lovely ball threaded through, out comes Tom Heaton as Cazorla was going through on goal. Lovely through ball, but there you go. Jordan makes a good point here about the bigger teams. Yeah, I don't care how big he says, he doesn't care how big a club you can be, but this is the beauty of the Barclays of the actual Premier League. If you underestimate the lowest, the smaller teams, they will have you, and he's quite right. And we saw that. I don't want to brag this up. I know he's a Liverpool fan. I don't want to bring this up, Jordan. I know you'll have bad memories, but when Burnley beat Liverpool, that was a very good example of how teams do underestimate smaller. And of course, Manchester City a couple of years back were beaten. And let's not forget, Arsenal have been the subject of giant killing in the cup ties here in the last few years. They were beaten 2-0 in a League Cup match in December 2008. 2 goals from Kerry MacDonald, remember him? Winning Burnley a place in those days in the semi-finals, but they've got some defending to do of the class of 2016, because Arsenal have a corner, and Cazorla to take it on the far side, and swing it in right-footed from the right-hand side. Burnley have to be on their medal defensively, in towards the near post. Boyd got the header away. A chance here now for Gudmundsson to really test the pace of Hector Bellerin, who, according to some rumours, he says he's actually faster than Usain Bolt. In fact, over 100 metres, I believe. He actually beat the current world record set by Usain Bolt in 100 metres, but obviously it wasn't. And that the world records always stand at proper athletics events. But he is a very good sprinter, Hector Bellerin, by all accounts. So the story goes. I don't know if he's quicker than Usain Bolt. You have to go some to beat the fastest man in the planet, if that is the case. Coming up towards 20 minutes go. And referee having a word there with Sandy Cazorla. There's a free kick to Burnley, and it was a pull there. And what is he doing here? Just trying to think who it might be. It's number 20 here, Mustafi. He's claiming a shirt pull. Now let's have a look at this again. Well, isn't he pulling Sam Vokes there? I can't see any shirt pulling there from Vokes. I think it's Mustafi's got hold of him. There's no doubt about it. Mustafi can moan all he wants about it, but I have to say, I don't think he has a case, and I'm surprised Ikelbos came up to the referee and almost manhandled him. That's, these days, is a yellow card offence. And remember, you can't really surround the referee, otherwise it's an instant yellow card. Why aren't players cottoning on to that? Here's a chance edge of the penalty area. Might just come here for Henrik to try and strike 2 goals in a week, but it was charged down. on the edge of the D, and now Arsenal have a break on here, and it's Alex Iwobi, left hand side. He'll have to cut in field, but again Burnley had sufficient numbers back to deal with the danger as we come towards halfway mark of the first half. A game that's coming to the boil, just need to go, and Arsenal have I think they have a free kick, in fact. Yeah, free kick to Arsenal. Jordan again on the line, he says yeah, if you underestimate, yeah, you deserve. I think he's going on about the Liverpool game. If we did underestimate you, and so did I, and I think you'll be fine this season. He rates Tom Heaton very highly. Well, Tom Heaton could well be in the England squad for the upcoming internationals. Gareth Southgate has got 4 games, as I say, to impress, and we'll have the first of those at Wembley, and of course we'll also have the friendly as well. Against Spain, and obviously the Battle of Britain against Scotland. The first one is being played at Wembley, and that's later on in the year. But it's next month, the Scotland clash, and what a game that's going to be. And if anyone under the age of 30 doesn't know what an England-Scotland clash is all about, well, in a couple of months' time you'll find out exactly what it is. It's a throwback to many years ago, when there used to be a tournament for the home nations called the Home International Championship, where England, Scotland, Wales and Northern Ireland used to battle each and every year. I think they play 1 game each, and whoever topped that little league won the home internationals, and most years it was shared. Burnley have had 28% of possession, but they've done okay with the possession they've had so far. Now at the halfway mark of the first period. Burnley 0, Arsenal 0. Turf Moor. Somebody's holding a piece of string there on the bench. I wonder who that could be. Oh yes, Mr. Wenger, that is. Must be some sort of comfort thing he has now. It's a lot of stressful. Football management is a stressful business, certainly in these days and age, with so much money at stake. But where you finish, here's a well-beat little chip in there, but Ben Mee with a good sensible clearance this time. And here's a chance now for Iwobi now to play the ball, and now Ozil has it, number 11. Just plays the ball out. Plenty back there. Kazoa trying to thread a through pass, but Burnley's defence has been rock solid throughout the 23 minutes that we've actually been playing this game. That is a testament to how well they've done, really, and really they've just kept defensive. Yeah, there's been the odd mistake from Ben Mee, which is a bit out of order from him, really, but I'm not his biggest fan, by the way. But as a back four and the goalkeeper, they've done remarkably well. And if they can just get it right further forward and get an opportunity or two for Vokes, then they've got every chance. And Stephen Defoe is arguably Burnley's best midfielder so far this season. I think he's a much better player than what Joey Barton was, and I think we've got the Joey Barton replacement right there in Stephen Defoe. I really do. And for £8 million, I think that's a very big snip of a bargain, certainly for a central midfielder who was only weighted several years ago, as I said the other night, by Sir Alex Ferguson. Arsenal just trying to keep possession here. They've got a chance here on the far side, perhaps here with Bellerin. Low cross in there, and again the first touch there was poor, and Burnley were able to clear. And a good ball up towards Sam Vokes, and he's up against, first of all, Mustafi. That's a battle and a half, and again Mustafi just wrestling him to the ground. And I think Burnley have got the decision. No, they haven't. Well, I think he's got away with it again, Mustafi. I'm not convinced about him at the moment. Ashley's been on and says congratulations to Arsene Wenger for 20 years. Although he has his critics, he also makes a good point that he sets his team up to win. Deserves respect for that. And yes, He's now one of the longest, he's in fact the longest serving current Premier League manager. And in a game where management appointments last no fewer than 6 months in certain clubs, Leeds United being one of them, it's good to see that Wenger's been loyal. I mean, there were calls maybe last season for him to be sacked after what happened with the title race, but they're doing okay, and if they can get a victory there, they'll be back in the race. But 20 years, and considering what he's achieved, he's won 3 Premier League titles, and he's won several FA Cups as well along the way. So he's brought silverware to the club. I know the Arsenal fans will be, and also got them to the European Cup final for the very first time, and the only time in 2006, and they were done up, I think, by Barcelona. I think the referee didn't help matters by harshly sending off Lehmann in the first quarter of that final, and I think that's what cost Arsenal that day, despite Sol Campbell putting them in front that night in Paris. 0-0 here, 27 minutes gone, and it's back with Heaton, and now Loughton, Keane trying to make his way forward again. There was a fistful of shirt there, and Arsenal really, I think some of the Arsenal players have just been a little bit overzealous in their tackling and shirt pulling and all that sort of game. I really do believe that at the moment, but Burnley good on his side, work hard. And you know what Sean Dyche is like, he doesn't suffer fools gladly, he's a hard worker. He spent his playing career in the lower leagues, he never got to the top flight as a footballer, but he's got there as a manager. The nearest he got to the taste of the big time was in his Chesterfield days when they were robbed of a place in the FA Cup final many years ago, and they should have gone 3-1 up, but for a ridiculous decision by David Ellery, which would have put Chesterfield 3-1 up against Middlesbrough and out of sight that day. They went on to lose the replay at Middlesbrough 3-0. That's the closest he's ever got to the big time. But here's a worldly now for Arsenal, just inside the penalty area. Little touch back, and again Dean Marney in there, former Spurs player of course. Little subplot there, and look at folks trying to hold things up front. He's manfully doing well without any great support, and he did as much as he could there. There was an overload of 3 Arsenal defenders around him, and he did marvellously well. And let's be fair, Jurgen Klopp has been a great manager as well, as says Jordan. Well, he was a great manager before he came to Liverpool. Of course, he for quite a number of years he got Borussia Dortmund to the summit of German football, and they were unlucky to lose that 2013 European final to Bayern Munich at Wembley. I think they should have won it that day, but Bayern Munich found a way to win that night. And maybe on the night Dortmund really didn't do themselves justice, but they had a terrific run to get there. That quarter-final classic, of course, with Malaga. And Malaga thought they were through, and then 2 late goals. One of them a controversial offside decision which didn't go the Spanish club's way, and then the semi-finals were just brilliant. Jordan has come on, he says #JB to commentate for BBC. Oh, fantastic. It's great when we get praise like this, and I don't just do it for myself, I do it for everybody, and that's what I do. And it's I try and do it with my own personality and put my own stamp on things, and just see what I see and say what I see, really. There are a few plans afoot. I made a page dedicated to that, by the way, JB. Fantastic. Well, let's hope it gets some likes, Jordan. If we get over 50 likes, I will do a behind the scenes FIFA video, or a quick Q&A. Maybe we should do a Q&A video in a couple of weeks' time. But anyway, half an hour gone then at Turf Moor. 1-0 is the score, and oh, brilliant. Here's Koscielny for Arsenal. Infielder Granit Xhaka, who scored those terrific thunderbolts against Tull and Nottingham Forest in the EFL Cup. And here's a chance now for a ball forward, and again cut out by Ben Mee, but again it just ricocheted off a Burnley man last, and will be a corner to Arsenal. Phil Walcott is going to take it, I think, or is he going to leave it? No, he's going to leave it for Sandy Gazzola, I think. But Arsenal, when they break out on the counter-attack, they look a menacing prospect. And it's taken short. And a chance here now for Gazzola to knock the ball into the penalty area. And Gunmunson now to break away for the Clarets. 0-0, but a chance here for Boyd, but again, he's up against it a little bit with the likes of Monreal and Bellerin, who's one of the fastest sprinters going. Jordan says that's why I want your Facebook, so UJB, an absolute legend. Oh, fantastic. Yeah, the reason why I wanted to do this, I want to get the sports commentator page more likes. I mean, I've got enough Facebook friends. I've got enough Facebook friends to last a lifetime. My Facebook is for personal use, and I only had friends I've seen and known and all that jazz. Jordan Matthews come on and said hi. I'm sure he's disappointed, and Jordan's made the point. 2-0. Oh dear me. But City are not. Well, it proves after all, Manchester City, they're a great side and they've done terrifically well. They've had a good start on the Pep Guardiola, but it just proves that they are human after all. And I think Spurs just wanted it that little bit more, and it was just one of those off days, considering they've been through the mill and back against Celtic on Wednesday night in that Champions League thriller minute. I think it was bound to be one of those things. Just a one shot on target though for all the attacking play we've had so far, and that's come from Arsenal. But only get a throw about 20 yards inside Arsenal territory. In fact, I went on YouTube the other day, and there's a channel called Arsenal Fan TV, and they were speaking to a young lad who's actually a mascot at today's game, and his dad was saying, we're going to go 4-0 Arsenal, Walcott's going to get one, Ozil's going to get one, and I like the guy's confidence, but has he watched much of Burnley recently? Did he watch them on Monday night against Watford? I doubt it very much. Here's Matt Lowton now for Burnley, trying to get something moving down that near side, but Arsenal had sufficient numbers back to do very well. And here's a chance now for Walcott to break out. He's got Bellerin running furiously down that right-hand channel. Did well, but then Stephen Defoe covered, and I think no injury there. I thought for a moment that they were going to. We got a little bit of a fight going on here between Matthew and Jordan. Please, it's a family show. And I'm sure it's all done in the best possible banter though. Carl Gunnar says it's weird that he actually wanted Tottenham to actually win. And he goes, and Jordan goes, he loves one. Hey, Jordan, he's fantastic. We need the comments banter for the channel. As long as they're clean and respectful, and which they are at the moment, it's good for the YouTube channel. It's good publicity. 0-0 here. Here come Arsenal now back to the game, and ball threaded through, and Johnson is there to reel that particular attack out, and here he is again, drifting out to the right hand side. 2 Arsenal defenders tracking him every step of the way, mind you. Has to go back in field to Marnie this time. Now to Keane to Ben Mee, edge of his own penalty area. Ben Mee's made 1 or 2 little errors so far, which could have cost Burnley dear, but thankfully from his point of view they haven't. Ball out of play on the far side, and it'll be a throw into Burnley. Going up towards 10 minutes to go to half time. Finished Manchester United 1, Stoke 1. I let Joe Allen go earlier on. The Ryder Cup is just about to get underway. Just remember the overnight score is the USA 9.5 to Europe 6.5, and we're into the final day. Can Europe perform another miracle like they did in Medina 2 years ago? Going to be tough against a partisan American crowd over in Hazeltine, but you never know. So during this broadcast we'll keep you up to date with the latest proceedings over in the United States. Meanwhile, in deepest Lancashire, it's Stephen Defoe, right hand side. Cross gets a deflection, and good defending there by Arsenal. And then Monreal has to clear. It wasn't a particularly good clearance, but he found a Welby all the same, and he gets away from a couple of players, pirouetted from a couple, and here's a chance now for Arsenal to lead out a counter-attack. And here's Bill Walcott now, and a chance now for Arsenal to nudge it back. Just no one in waiting. Bad heavy touch there, and a chance now. The sun making it difficult to identify one of the two players, but so far Burnley giving as good as they got. Here's Alexis Sanchez though. Welby, sorry. Sanchez wears 7. So 0-0. And Jordan says Matthew will see in the season where he reckons Liverpool smash City. It's good to see Inter-City rivalries really together. Carl Gunner says both teams are going to supremely tough contenders, no doubt at all. Arsenal, of course, without a league championship since 2004. They should have won it last year, really, but again, their inability around about the halfway, 3/4 mark of the season, allied the fact that Leicester had gone so well before that, prevented them. In fact, they ended up finishing second in that last season. George Boyd on the left-hand side for Arsenal. First opportunity to cross was charged down. Now Ward has it, former Wolves man, gets the cross in there towards Vokes. Goodmanson is there. Will Loughton have a shot? No, he's chipped it in. Vokes with a header! But I think he's offside. I think he might have been offside anyway. I think he's looked ruthlessly at the linesman on the near side. And I think the flag had gone up anyway, so the chance, I don't think the goal would have stood. But a lovely ball in there, caused a few problems. Then Loughton crossed in, and he's onside for me. I think he's onside. Whoa, that looks a very tough decision. I think that should have been onside. Poor decision from the linesman. John Dyche knows that was a good opportunity there. But if Burnley get in at 0-0, it's a good result for them at the moment. And a point against Arsenal would not be the worst result in the world, because they're not expected, the Clarets, to pick up too many points against the bigger teams who are fighting at the top end. Your Manchester Uniteds, your Manchester Cities, your Liverpools, your Arsenals, your Chelseas, your Tottenhams, Leicester even. It's the teams like Watford, Bournemouth, Middlesbrough. They're the teams that Burnley need to be picking up important points from. I'm going to go to Southampton next up in 2 weeks' time. There's another 4 o'clock kick-off, and you'll be able to hear that live on the JB Claret YouTube channel. Andre Gray sitting it out, obviously, with that 4-match ban for those comments he made 4 years ago. I still don't quite understand why the club have to be penalised for that. The comments he made when he wasn't a Burnley player. I do agree he shouldn't have said what he said, but to punish the club I thought was a disgrace. But the FA, well, I might have criticised them last week, but I've got to praise them for how they've handled the whole Sam Allardyce Bungate issue with the Daily Telegraph. And I've got to be honest, it's been quite a week in English football, but it's good to see some action. But here come Arsenal, here, danger there, and Michael Keane snuffed that out in an instant. Burnley's defence has been nothing short of top rate in the last 10 or 15 minutes, and that was a really good piece of defending. And here's George Boyd on the chase down the right hand side, and did very well. It's a goal kick, but I tell you what, Mustafi was then found wanting. Carl Maximus says hashtag JB for BBC. Jordan says JB to commentate for all the BBC. Maybe even Sky, BT or ITV, who knows. But at the moment, I'm my own man commentating for my own YouTube channel. And I'm sure the campaigning will keep going on and on. as each live game and each FIFA video I put on goes by. And don't forget, episode 3 of the latest Burnley career mode will be on the YouTube channel within a couple of hours. Just got a little bit of voiceover work to do on it, and then just edit the whole thing together on YouTube, and then we'll have it all set up, and we should have it hopefully in the next 2, maybe 3 hours. So once it comes up, you'll be able to see it, and this is why I always say subscribe, because you get my videos, plus you guys who subscribe and take the time to subscribe, you get first dibs at my newest content. Last 10 minutes possession, interesting reading, 52% for Burnley, sorry, and 48% for Arsenal. It's not many teams in even a 10-minute spell of a match that actually outpossess Arsenal, even though it's about 5 or 6% in it. Here come Arsenal now, trying to make something of it. It will be. What a poor ball that is. Behind Bellerin, it was an absolute poor ball. Jordan says, love the fact that your picture's been City badge and mine's a Liverpool badge. It looks like Liverpool and Man City taking good-humoured shots at each other. I think we'll say that good-humoured, I think, is the word that you're probably looking for, John. We're trying to defuse the situation. Anyway, we've got 3 minutes to go. We're losing track of time here. It's still 0-0, by the way. But Burnley should be happy the way they've played in the first 45 minutes. And I don't think any Burnley fan would be too disappointed with a blank score sheet at half-time in reality. And here's Alexis Sanchez, the Chilean... Alex Iwobi. I keep thinking Sanchez wears 17. He always used to wear that for Chile, and I think he wore that last year for Arsenal. Shows how much I've covered Arsenal in the last 3 weeks. Ball back with Pedicek. Just to remind you, I will take a 5-minute break, and then we'll be back with full second half commentary of this game, which kicked off, of course, 45 minutes ago now at 4:30. We're now at 5:15 in the afternoon. And here's Matt Morton for Burnley down the near side, and that's how they play. And well, this time of day in my youth was spent watching a great Lancastrian comedian called Jim Bowen present a programme called Bullseye. Again, if you're over 25, you'll know what I'm talking about. Under 25, type Bulls, and you don't know what I'm talking about. If you're under a certain age group and you don't know what I'm actually talking about, type Bullseye Jim Bowen into your YouTube search engines, and you'll understand why. 0-0. But a very good first half. Last minute of the first half. We'll take a 5-minute break, and I'll just come off the mic for a little bit and then get my breath back. And here comes a Welby low crossing there from Ozil. Ball knocked away up towards Sam Vokes. Burnley with all 11 players back in their own half, more or less now, as Arsenal go on one more flurry down the near side with Ozil. He'll cross back towards the edge of the fatigue. 25 yards from goal now. Xhaka has it, and again Ozil calling for it on the left hand side, sorry. And Ozil now tries to tease Ward. Burnley right back has to play it infield. Here's Granit Xhaka, been for way inside Burnley territory. Burnley with plenty of numbers back. That 2 banks of 4 again, doing tremendously well. Well, 1 bank of 5 and 1 bank of 4. And fantastic first half. We haven't heard from a few of the other regulars like Panini or Kevin. Where are you guys? We've had 53 comments in the first half so far. A little JB statistic there for you. Don't forget, ladies and gentlemen, around about the 70th minute mark, it will be your time to get your votes in for the now customary JB Man in the Match award. and you'll be able to make that from the 70th minute to the 90th minute. So you've got a 20-minute window to do that between the 70th and 90th minute, where we will announce the winner. Last Burnley winner to win that Man of the Match award was on Monday night, of course, Stephen Defoe, and of course the last player to win the award outright was Christian Benteke of Crystal Palace on Friday night. And there is the half-time whistle, signalled by Craig Pawson, and a good first half for Burnley. Really frustrated Arsene Wenger, who's celebrating, of course, 20 years of Arsenal manager this month, and really some good defending there. Sam Vokes has led the line very well. Sean Dyche walking off there with Tony Lochran, his coach there, and Ian Welland at half-time. They'll be happier, the two teams, I would have thought, as they walk off the field, and Arsenal know they're in a game at the moment. We're going to take a 5-minute break. After that break, we'll before I go, just a quick update. They've just teed off in the Ryder Cup about 10 minutes ago. It's still 9.5 to America and 6.5 to Europe in the Ryder Cup. But if there's any change in the scores from now to the end of this broadcast, I will bring it to you on the YouTube channel, because I know there's probably a few golf fans who probably have been taken in by the Ryder Cup craze at the moment. But at half-time here at Turf Moor, it's Burnley 0, Arsenal 0. I'm going to take 5 minutes. After that break, we'll bring you up to speed what's been happening over the weekend as well in regards to the football, and of course full match commentary of the second half of Burnley and Arsenal, which at half-time, of course, is 0-0. See you in 5 minutes. Hello there, welcome back to the Burnley versus Arsenal Premier League commentary from Turf Moor. Let's keep you up to date what's happening, of course, in the Ryder Cup. They've just teed off. Reed and McIlroy have teed off just about 20 minutes ago. There's been no significant scoring in that, but also to tee off at 17:15, of course, is Spieth and Stenson. And then after that, Holmes and Peters, Fowler and Rose, Walker and Cabello, Mickelson and Garcia. That should be a tight old affair, that one. Moore and Lee Westwood, Sneakter against Sullivan, Johnson versus Wood, Koepka against Willett, Kutchar against Kamer, and Zach Johnson against Fitzpatrick. Some good little singles games going on against each other. As well as a few hashtags there. Jordan saying JB Army about 4,000 times, but it's great to have the hashtags. Europe says Carl. He also says Wenger for life. I don't think that's going to happen. Just to remind you of the Ryder Cup situation, Europe need to score 14 points to maintain the actual Ryder Cup, so they need to score, and they need actually 14.5 to win the match outright. So it's a tough old task for Europe to do at the moment, but there is every chance in the world that they could pull off the miracle. Back to what's happened already in the football today, and we'll go back to yesterday's games just to clear this up. As you know, Burnley Arsenal 0-0. So let's have a look at what happened yesterday. There were 5 Premier League games. Swansea 1, Liverpool 2. Francesco Guidolin on his last legs there at Swansea at the moment. Great result there. Jordan will be happy. Had to fight back from the dead in that one. Fair put Swansea ahead, but Firmino and an 84th minute James Milner penalty won the day. Won the day for Liverpool. Chelsea back to winning ways themselves with an unspectacular but a comfortable win against Chelsea, against Hull City, sorry. Williams scored after 61 minutes, and then Diego Costa 6 minutes later, making it 2-0. Sunderland got a late goal against West Brom to preserve a draw. Chandler put West Brom ahead after 35 minutes of that game, and it looked all the while that West Brom were going to hang on and get 3 points, but Patrick Van Aanholt obviously didn't read the script, and he came up with an 83rd minute equaliser to save Sunderland's brushes, but they still haven't won a game this season. Terrific game at Vicarage Road yesterday, where Watford came back from the dead came back twice in that game. Came back twice in that game against Watford. Wilson had put Bournemouth in front after 31 minutes. And then Troy Deeney 5 minutes in the second half equalised. Then Josh King put Bournemouth 2-1 up after 62 minutes. But then Success, one of the young lads who Isaac Success, came off to save Watford a point after 65 minutes. A terrific game, ended 2-0. And at the London Stadium, Middlesbrough went in front for a Sharani header that just crossed the line. Goal line technology were needed after 51 minutes to put Middlesbrough ahead. And then 6 minutes later, a beautiful individual goal from Dimitri Payet, getting back to his best. And West Ham scraping a draw. They've only won 1 game at the moment in the London Stadium, and that's a cause of concern for Simon Village, but that just might have saved their grace. In fact, West Ham sit in the bottom 3 at the moment. They just cannot buy a win at the moment. So we're back, we're almost back with you at Turf Moor, and of course earlier on today it ended 1-1 between Manchester United and Stoke. 2 drop points for Mourinho's men. 0-0 between the champions Leicester and Southampton. It looked a bit of a mundane game, that one. The big game at White Hart Lane was finished Tottenham 2, Manchester City now, which blows the title race well and truly wide and very, very open at the moment. And of course here at Turf Moor, half time at the moment. It's Burnley 0, Arsenal 0. We haven't had a 0-0 draw in any of our live Premier League commentaries today. Let's hope that isn't going to be an unlucky omen to attack-minded sides, although I wouldn't mind a 0-0 draw today if I'm if I'm being a little biased, because I want Burnley to pick up as many points as we can, and a point against Arsenal would be a tremendous effort for us. And next week it's England, the continuing saga with the England team, and as they go into World Cup qualifying action. You'll be able to hear that one next Saturday rather evening, at Wembley. And of course the weekend after that we certainly have, down at the 4 o'clock kickoff, we have the Burnley Southampton game from St Mary's as well. And Jordan says, thank you for this stream and including me in the show, helping me smile through the pain. In fact, he burnt his hand off, I believe, earlier on. And well, I hope you get better soon, Jordan. Well, I did my knee in a few weeks ago, and I can tell you, when you have an accident, or you burn your hand, or you hurt your knee, or break your leg, or whatever you do, and you're in pain, you always need somebody to cheer you up. And well, if I can cheer somebody else up like your good self, then it's not a bad thing, I suppose, Jordan. And and that's what I set out to do. I set out to make people happy, and you know, whether my comments are valuable or not, that is what I'm there to do. I'm there to educate people. I'm there to do it, and I love commentating. It's one of my passions in life, and I feel very good about doing that. Anyway, we're back with you for the second half. No changes, I understand, from any of the two lineups. So what we'll do in the early part of the second half, we'll remind you again of the 2-11s, and then let's see what Burnley and Arsenal can do in the second half. Will it end 0-0, or will Arsenal's undoubted quality rise to the top, or will Burnley's hard work and dedication rise to their service as well? We'll see. As Arsenal comes streaming forward now, early doors, but that'll pull for George Boyd. He skips away from a couple of Arsenal defenders, and what a little pirouette to get away from an Arsenal man there. Might have been Walcott, in fact. So 0-0. 1 minute gone. So let's recap the two teams, shall we? Tom Eaton is in goal for Burnley, and then it's a back four of Matt Lowton, Michael Keane, Ben Mee and Stephen Ward. Two older midfielders, that's Dean Marney and Jeff Henrick, who got the opener on Monday night against Watford. Gudmundsson, Defoe and Boyd are the midfield further three, with Sam Vokes leading the line in attack. Arsenal, of course, line up with the inevitable Peter checking goal. And a back four is unchanged from the first half. Bellerin, Mustafi, Koscielny and Monreal. Get two holding midfielders like Burnley, Cazorla and Granit Xhaka as the cross comes in from the inside. Walcott, Ozil and Iwobi are the midfield further three, with Alexis Sanchez up front, and it's Burnley on the attack now with Stephen Defoe. And I'll run through the subs in a minute. In just a second for you as well. Referee, of course, is Craig Pawson, who's not had too much in the way to do, or big decisions to make so far in this game, but there's plenty of time for that to change. As Lawton gets a good cross in there towards Sam Vokes, who just miscued his attempted volley on the edge to the right hand side of the 6-yard box, and in the end it trickles out for a goal kick. Now the substitutes, 3 can come on, 7 named, 3 can come on. John Flanagan, Michael Kightly, Patrick Bamford, Paul Robinson, the former England goalkeeper, James Tarkowski, who came from Brentford in January, Scott Arfield and Aidan O'Neill, the Australian. They're all substitutes for Burnley. For the Arsenal subs, Kieran Gibbs, Gabriel, the centre-back, David Ospina, the reserve goalkeeper, Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain, who hasn't really set Arsenal alight yet, but I think given the chance he might do so. Holding another centre-back who made his debut with disastrous effect against Liverpool on the opening day, Rennie Adelaide and Eleni. And here come Arsenal now inside the penalty area, or just on the edge of the penalty area, and I think it was Walcott who was bundled off the ball, and then it was given away to Alexis Sanchez. Danger here for Burnley, a little dink cross and it was knocked away, and really Burnley almost getting themselves in a bit of a tangle defensively. And And really that could have been a catastrophic start for Burnley in the second half. It still might be though, because Arsenal are asking one or two questions here on the counter-attack with Welby. He's looked a little bit lively, certainly in forward in the first half. Now Granit Xhaka, 35 yards from goal. Space room closed down by Stephen Defoe. Just tracked him every step of the way, and he just made Xhaka think about not having a shot. Here's Walcott deep inside the penalty area. Bellerin tries to put one forward, a shot coming in, and Heaton didn't hold it. It was Sanchez with a right-footed shot from about 12 yards out. Hit it straight at Heaton. He'd lost it momentarily and then got it again as the players piled in for the rebound. But again, danger there for Burnley. Didn't get the ricochets they would have liked. Great save there, and there's I'm just trying to see who came in there on the rebound. It was Sanchez with the right-footed shot. It was a good shot, but Heaton was down pretty swiftly to his left-hand side, and he has been the scourge of Burnley. He scored 3 goals and 1 assist in his last 3 games against the Claret. Last time these two sides met was an FA Cup 4th round tie in January, where Burnley were very unlucky not to get a replay out of that particular afternoon, narrowly losing 2-1, but it was a great performance to really give Arsenal a game there. But here come Arsenal now trying to give Burnley's defence something to think about, and here's Walcott. He's got Ozil to the right, and he tries to turn and have a go himself. He feels as if he's in good scoring form, but from 25 yards out, he wasn't going to trouble the scorers in that occasion. But again, Arsenal now starting to pile men forward, and it's always a danger sign that for Burnley. But they are one of the fittest and most active teams around Burnley. They'll never stop running around, and they'll never stop going. They'll always keep on going and going and going right till the end. 5 minutes gone in the second half. Arsenal have had 2 significant chances, and Burnley now have just got to stick in there like they did 2 years ago against Manchester City, and City were all over them for a good 75% of the game, and then Burnley got themselves a set piece, and George Boyce scored that screaming volley to win the match that night. And here's Stephen Defoe infield to Henrik. Henrik now will try the shot. Henrik from about 30 yards out shoots over the bar and into the Jimmy McIlroy stand for a goal kick for Arsenal. Much better from Burnley. Good play from Defoe, cutting from the left hand side into the middle of the park, and then Jeff Henrik, the former Derby County man, in fact just getting his shooting range just a little bit all wrong there, a little bit, and a goal kick. 52 minutes now coming up towards now in the final match of the Premier League weekend. No Monday night match, of course, and then it will be a 2-week international break when the likes of England, Scotland, Wales, Northern Ireland all reconvene their World Cup qualifying campaigns, and Italy, Spain on Thursday night is one particular qualifier outside of the home nations that I'm particularly looking forward to, because Italy and Spain put up a really good battle in the European Championships earlier on in the summer, where Italy came through 2-0 winners. That was the second round match. Italy went on and narrowly lost out to Germany in a fantastic quarter-final, it has to be said. It was a great pleasure to commentate on, and the penalty shootout was one of those nervy moments as well. And all those commentaries from the summer, if you'd like to relive the summer, if you're not English of course, if you don't want to listen to any of the England games, I don't blame you. But if anyone wants to listen back to some of the good games that we saw from the Euros, the Welsh won to the semi-finals, the penalty shootouts in the 2 penalty shootouts into the quarter-finals, then you're more than welcome to view those. They're all there for your listening pleasure forever and a day. And here comes Sanchez, far side, out towards the far side, and here comes Iwobi. He tries to shoot, and in fact he got it all wrong. He's gone out in fact for a throw, would you believe? Again, Arsenal breaking very, very quickly. They've got bundles and bundles of pace up front, and Iwobi, well, less said about his final end product, the better. I know what he was trying to do. He was trying to curl it into the top right hand corner of Tom Heaton's goal, and he couldn't succeed in doing so. And Wenger just froze his water bottle down in disgust there. But it's still 0-0, and we're coming up towards the 10-minute mark of the second half gone. And here's Nacho Romeo against Johan Gudmundsson, one of the Iceland heroes of the European Championships just gone. And Turkmore looking spick and spam again. They've opened a new club shop over the summer. They've given the ground a lick of paint again, obviously, and the new floodlights as well to tie in with the new Premier League guidelines and rules and all that type of thing. I'm sure the television gantries had to be extended once again. So a lot of expense trying to get your ground up to Premier League standards when you get up there from the Championship. Of course, you've got to accommodate 3D cameras and all kind of cameras and all that sort of mumbo jumbo jazz. And here comes a chance now for number 24 Bellerin to come forward, and now Walcott. Bellerin on the overlap once again down the right hand side. Bellerin now 5 yards from the byline, back into the wheel to Walcott, edge of the penalty area. Walcott inside the penalty area, just to the right, just keeps it in by the byline, and wins a throw for Arsenal, level almost with the edge of the 6-yard box. Arsenal attacking the cricket field stand, or for sponsorship reasons the David Fishwick stand to our right. And if you're wondering who David Fishwick is, he's the bloke from he's the guy from the Banker Dave television programs, where he opens a community bank in the middle of Burnley. He also sells minibuses locally as well, and has made his money all from that. So anybody who's unfamiliar with the name David Fishwick, I think I might be going a little bit doolally about it. He's the guy that sponsors the stand, and he sells minibuses, and has opened himself that little community bank in the centre of Burnley. 0-0. Burnley and Arsenal here in this Premier League encounter, the final one before the international break. Earlier today, Manchester United drew 1-1 with Stoke. A good point that for Mark Hughes. Leicester and Southampton drew 0-0. Spurs blew the title race, even at this early stage, wide and truly open. The likes of Liverpool and Arsenal and Manchester United to a certain extent, because they're not too far behind, with a 2-0 victory over Manchester City, who probably suffered a little bit from that excursions in midweek when they really had to go some against Celtic in midweek. Arsenal on the attack now with Santi Gonzalez, 25 yards from goal. Bellerin on the right hand side. Walcott has drifted into the penalty area. Ozil now frees it out, and ball has been lost there by Granit Xhaka. And now a chance here for Xhaka to battle with Sam Vokes up there for Burnley. And in fact, Xhaka gets it back to Petr Cech, who's probably virtually had his first touch of the second half there, just knocking the ball nonchalantly to Lauren Koscielny. And I'll answer the Carl's question in a minute, as to why they might not be scoring. Ball laid back in there, and again Burnley frustrating Arsenal here. We will answer the question in a minute or two, but we've got Arsenal on the attack again. Maybe Arsenal might answer the question for him here. Here's a Welby inside the penalty area. Sanchez inside the box. Danger here for Burnley. Again, good blocks. Still not away yet. Sanchez had the shot. Here's Walcott. Near side, and again Burnley get it out. I can now answer Carl's question, although they almost answered it for me, Arsenal there. But I'll have to put that on hold in a minute or two. Here's Granit Xhaka. Come on, Burnley's the cry to the Clarets fans. Here's Ozil. Burnley have got so many numbers back here. I think that might be the answer to Carl's question, you know, because Burnley have been very disciplined defensively, and that's why Arsenal haven't scored as yet. And if I was being totally honest, I don't want them to score. But that's me being too greedy and maybe a little bit too biased perhaps. But I want my team to do well. But we know that it's a free hit against Arsenal, because the Watfords, if we'd had lost I mean, there would have been more pressure if we'd have lost to Watford on Monday night than there would have been if we drawn and lost the game. So that's just, if I was a gambling man now, I'd still go for a draw here from this game. I predicted 1-1 in my Premier League predictions. Here's Sam Vokes now, 25 yards from goal. He might just change all that. Another chip forward, it'll find Henrik here. Burnley on a rare counter-attack here. And if they can get men forward, they might have a chance. Henrik now jumps down the left-hand side, gets the ball in, and still Boyd now trying to turn, and Burnley now get a throw. Almost level with the edge of the penalty area. And now it's their turn to show what they're made of in an attack. And if George Boyd hadn't been put off by Sandy Gonzalo, who knows what might have happened. Boyd touches it back now to Ward. Ward tries to get across him. Far side towards the back post. Header one, and Penacek having to dive to his right to deny. A terrific header from Johan Bergen-Munson. A terrific crossing there. Ward with a accurate pinpoint cross, and Penacek having to scramble across his goal mouth there to turn that behind for a corner. And that's the sort of quality Arsenal got from Chelsea. He may well be in his 30s now, mid-30s, Penacek, but he's still a top draw goalkeeper. Here comes the corner, swung in there, and is it gone in? Oh, I thought it had dropped in there for a minute. It must have been kicked off the line. There was a bit of a pinball machine scramble inside there, but Burnley still going for it. And Burnley having a go here. And this is what the game needed. And they're still on the attack now. Munson with a cross in there. Touch back now. Will Boyd hit one? No, he won't. Loughton calling for it on the far side. Loughton gets the ball into the penalty area, headed away. And Burnley now starting to ask one or two questions here. Boyd heads it back. And in fact, Arsenal now can try and get it away, but really there, Burnley showing a little bit more cunning and a little bit more guile, and they almost went one up through Johan Bergen-Munson. A bullet header, but what a save. He had to scramble down to his right hand side and get a good left hand on that to turn it out for a corner there, Penacek. It was a really smart save, a top draw save, and that's a world-class save that Penacek would be expected to make, really. Ben Mee did well to hold off his man inside his own penalty area, stood up, didn't slide in. It was good, sensible defending by the Burnley centre-back. Now, who had the chance from the corner? I think it might have been Jeff Henrik who scored, and it was Henrik. Just couldn't dig it out, and in fact, I think it might have been Walcott who cleared off the line. Header flicked on. Oh, there might have been a suspicion there of a handball against Henrik. I didn't see all that, but the referee wasn't in the position to see that. Plus Burnley change comes after 61 minutes, and I don't believe that decision. Why do you take off your best man, midfield man, Stephen Defoe, and put Scott Arfield on? For me, I would have took off Dean Marney. I don't understand that decision from Sean Dyche. They were in the ascendancy there. Stephen Defoe is one of your best midfielders. Why would you want to take him off? Why on earth would you want to take him off? I understand he has to utilise the squad, Dyche, but that is a... And I like Sean Dyche and how he goes about it, but Stephen Defoe off. He's been Burnley's best player by a long shot. Well, we'll have to think. Well, there'll be a few questions asked towards Sean Dyche if the substitution doesn't come off, but I think that looks a strange old substitution. That I think Burnley have lost a little bit of quality in the middle of the park there. Why would you want to take Stephen Defoe off? He's absolutely amazing. We've had 100 comments, and that's obviously come from Jordan. I think he's questioned the substitution from Dyche, and there was a foul there, but the referee quite rightly playing on, letting the game flow. And with the scoreline as it is right now, the referee deciding to try and get as much out of this game as he possibly can. Here's a Welby out to the far side. 62 minutes gone. In 10 minutes, just less than 10 minutes, you'll be able to start voting for your Man of the Match award. The JB Man of the Match, chosen by you, the people. So get online, get on listening, and start coming up for your Man of the Match votes. The JB Man of the Match is back, and if there isn't, I'll have to decide one for myself. Here's Here's Alexis Sanchez though, turning nicely. And there's space here on the far side now. Cross there, which was rather wasted by Mesut Ozil. But I am shaking my head, as probably along with 20,000 other Burnley fans, as to why Stephen Defoe has been substituted. It's not, I just cannot get my head round the decision. I love Sean Dyche to bits. I think he's a terrific manager, and far be it from me to criticise his decision making, but for my money I would have took off Dean Marney because he's an older player, and I would have put Arfield in instead of him, because you've got to keep your most creative player on the field, and that's obviously Stephen Defoe. But wait a moment, here's Jeff Henrik though. He's just couldn't get it out from under his feet, edge of the area. Maybe Dyche could have proved us all wrong yet. If he does, I will eat my words. But I just felt at this time, at this moment in time, Jordan has put an early bid in for man of the match, Stephen Defoe. Although he spelt it like Jermaine Defoe, it's spelt D-E-F-U-R. I think that's how you spell that name. Yeah, it's Stephen D-E-F-O-U-R. There we are. We checked it with Bully. Here's Tom Eaton. Took a little bit of an edge there, and there was an Arsenal player closing down on him. But early bid there from Jordan for an early man in the match. Although he's 5 minutes early, but we will count it. We do need the votes. Here's Hector Bellerin. He's got to be a candidate for man in the match as well. He's made some good darting runs from an Arsenal viewpoint. He's been in good form himself, along with Phil Walcott in recent weeks. And what is for certain, those two on the right for Arsenal do pose the worst possible threat for Burnley. Crossing from the right, but it's out. Jordan has said Xhaka could be man in the match. Well, you only get one vote, Jordan. You've already made that vote. You can't have 2 or 3 votes. You only get 1 vote each with me, okay? But I think he's probably just saying that just to make a point or two, and just be a little less biased, I suppose, against Arsenal. But Xhaka would be a candidate if you. But Jordan has decided on Stephen Defoe, and that's what's counting. You can't have 2 or 3 votes at man in the match, Jordan. Oh, bless him for trying now. Bless him for trying to do that. We might have to do the rules for that in the descriptions in future commentaries. Anyway, here back we are with the game. We've got Granit Xhaka infield to Mesut Ozil. Ozil now to Bellerin. Here's Bellerin just checking out, looking for options, and he's only got Mesut Ozil really that could play that in there. Out comes Tom Heaton and takes that very cleanly. There is an Arsenal player going down. It was, just trying to think, it was Alexis Sanchez. It was, but there was clearly no foul there. And I think he did say Stephen Defoe was the man of the match, or his man of the match I should say. That decision will not be made until the 90th minute. Any Arsenal fans listening in, please, if you think an Arsenal player should win the man in the match award, let me know. It's you that vote this, remember guys, so get voting. You've got about 20 minutes to get your votes in, and then I'll announce the man in the match around about 90 minutes. That's the stoppage time. Goes in and Leverett, and Burnley match. I hope it's a Burnley man who wins it, but if not, I'll be gracious and. But if an Arsenal player gets more votes, then as much as it will kill me to say it, then I will award it to Arsenal, an Arsenal player. So, although I'm a big Burnley fan, I am trying not to be as biased as I possibly can. And Arsenal have done alright, they've played okay, but they've just found that back forward Burnley not as penetrating as they thought. As many Arsenal fans said on their YouTube channel, there's a fan site called Arsenal fans YouTube channel, and they were, as I said, there was one guy there that was interviewed saying Arsenal would win 4-0 and all that sort of thing. Well, he's been proved wrong. I don't think I think he underestimated how strong that and how well organised that Burnley defence really was. There's still just over 20 minutes to go. Carl makes the point that he has a soft spot for Burnley. Indeed he does. The way that Burnley are run, I think, as well financially, they're very prudent in how they've managed. We haven't got money like Manchester City or Manchester United to go out and spend £30 million on one player. We've never had that, but we've always been prudent. We've broken our transfer record twice in the last window. £7.5 million for Stephen Defoe, and then £10.5 million for Jeff Emerick. He was our first over £10 million buy, and that was the first time we'd actually paid over £10 million for a player. Here's Stephen Ward now down the left hand side, and the ball just might run by Arfield and just couldn't thread it through to George Boyd, who had gone down the left hand side. Coming up towards, we've played 69 minutes. Burnley 0, Arsenal 0 at Turf Moor. Plenty of good football coming your way in the next 6 or 7 months here on this YouTube channel, as we will do commentaries. We'll do a couple from the Championship, of course, some of the bigger games from that, and then obviously we'll obviously be concentrating on the Premier League, the EFL Cup latter stages, and then from the third round onwards, the Emirates sponsored FA Cup third round day, early January, inclement weather. It's always a great level of third round cup day. I absolutely love it as a traditional cup fan. Here come Arsenal on the attack here. Here's Bill Walcott. Walcott has the shot, and it's well wide of goal, and a goal kick it is to Burnley. Just to the right of the area, the Daisy he struck it, and he struck it well wide of the far post. I think he struck it about 2, maybe 3 metres or so wide, and a goal kick it is. 20 minutes to go in this final match before the international break in week 7 of the Premier League. I nearly said Barclays Premier League, they don't sponsor anymore. Double change for Arsenal. Off comes Granit Xhaka, who hasn't been his usual effective self, and Mohamed Alami will come on. I think that's how you pronounce him. His name, number 35. He'll come on, and Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain as well is going to come on as well and replace the ineffective Alex Iwobi. So one Alex makes way for another one. "19 minutes to go. Burnley 0, Arsenal 0. Burnley have had a chance, Arsenal have had a couple in the second half. It hasn't been really much in the way of real big chances in the game. Johan Berger-Munson coming closest for Burnley with a fine header, which Pedacek had to scramble away and make a marvellous save. And we're more than halfway now through the second half. Can Burnley hold on in there, maybe break away and grab a win in the last 20 minutes, or will Arsenal's undoubted final third quality rise to the surface? Whatever the situation, it's going to be a riveting 20 minutes of compelling football, that's for sure, plus stoppage time, of course. Arsenal have it far side. Monreal. Again in field to Sanchez. That's a lovely ball back across. Ben Mee was there, and then it's somehow cannoned off his own man Michael Keane for a corner, and a corner that Arsenal were pretty lucky in fact to get, really, because Ben Mee's clearance could have gone into the stand on another day. Unfortunately for me, it hits his centre back partner and goes out for a corner. So Arsenal, in a lot of respects, are very fortunate to get that corner. Shelmy and Mustafi both forward from the back. And the corner's taken short, and they all pile in there for the... It was Elamy who tried the shot, and 2 Burnley players came in, charged it down. And Burnley were caught sleeping there, but at least Boyd and Keane weren't. And again, they've gone short once again. Crossing from the far side, headed up. It might be a drop for Arsenal, and has it gone in? No, it hasn't, from Sanchez. I thought it had got in the net. Struck it on the volley from around the penalty spot area from about 12 yards out with his right foot, and it looked as if it had to go in here. Big chance here for Arsenal. Sanchez, I thought it hit the far corner of the net, in the bottom corner of the net, but in fact he's hit it an inch wide, and Tom Heaton wasn't saving this, I can tell you that. Sanchez caught this horse waiting. In fact, he's hit the bottom of the post, the outside of the post, and a let off there for the Clarets. Oh my word. Here come Burnley now down the other end. Will they punish that missed chance for Alexis Sanchez? And here's Gudmundsson, full running the Iceland man, and as he yielded a corner or a throw. Well, whatever, it's 73 minutes gone. It's a throw, I think, to Burnley. No, it's not, it's a corner, even better. You know, it gives Key and me a chance there to come forward from the back, because Michael Keane scored on Monday night against Watford, which put them 2 goals clear, and they could do with one going in now. Gudmundsson into the penalty area, left footed, header one against the crossbar. I think it might have been Keane again. Still away for Burnley. Opportunity here for folks, and then Petacek kicks the catch. Oh, Michael Keane yet again. Bullet header hit the bar. Should have been a goal for Burnley. Great header, and I think maybe Petacek should have scored. I think Petacek might have got a hand on it, but what a header this is. Climbs above his defender, and in fact, I thought he'd hit the bar initially. In fact, it was a great save from Petacek yet again. 2 magnificent saves by the Czech Republic goalkeeper, and I have to say, when called upon, I think that's the sign of a world-class goalkeeper, because when Petacek's been called upon, he has made 2 magnificent saves, and I tell you what, that Sanchez chance nearly went back to bite Arsenal where it hurt then. And they're on the attack again, Arsenal, but Burnley having a couple of chances themselves and really making a game of this now. For quarter of an hour left to play. Free kick to Arsenal. Foul on the German Mesut Ozil, my Scott Arfield, who's arguing the case with referee Paulson. Let's have a look at it again. Infield it goes. Yeah, knocks him down. I think Arfield knows that. He's pushed him down. I know Ozil does know how to make a meal of it sometimes, but not on this occasion. It was a foul. So a free kick, and this could mean trouble for Burnley. It could mean big trouble. And you can bet your bottom dollar Ozil might be up behind this one. Indeed he is. So too is Cazorla, and so too is Alexis Sanchez. That is Sanchez and Ozil, the 2-man committee. Will it be the left foot of Ozil or the right foot of Sanchez? 2-4-5 in the Clarets wall. It's about 25 yards out, just to the right of centre. It's Ozil left foot, and it's into the wall. Who all jumped as one and charged it down. Poor free kick really from Mesut Ozil. He should be expected to hit better than that. And still it remains goalless, but we've had some goal mouth action, we've had scrambles. Sanchez should have volleyed one way in there, and then at the other end Burnley yielded a corner, lovely corner I should also say, from Johan Gudmundsson, and it was pinpoint accurate onto Keane's head, and it was a bullet header, but Petacek, right place, right time, palmed it away, and somehow Arsenal, hooker by crook, scrambled it to relative safety, and then went on and won that free kick. Still no goals, but at the moment, if you were looking at it objectively and Burnley were to draw the game 0-0, I would think it would be more of a point gained for Burnley than 2 points dropped, because I think they weren't expected to win this game, Burnley. This was more of a free hit, because considering they'd beaten Watford, and it took the pressure off them a bit, and I think they've sort of took on Arsenal with a great more deal of freedom than they would have done if they'd have lost the game on Monday, but they hadn't, and they won the game comfortably. Been far from comfortable today, let's be honest, because the final third of Arsenal's attack is a lot better than Watford's final third, and you put it into some kind of context. Safi has conceded a throw. It's pretty sunny out there now, which makes the identification of players that little bit more difficult. Here's Ben Mee for Burnley. Tries to thread a ball forward, and it's well cut out by Ellermy. A throw just over halfway, just inside the Arsenal half, taken by Ward. Back to Ben Mee, and he gets to All forward, left-footed, almost looking there for Boyd. Arfield to win the next one, and he finds Enric, and he tries to lay it out to the far side where Martin is sprinting like a train there, but he hasn't obviously got the pace of an Ektabilla in, and I don't think he's going to trouble sprinting record of Usain Bolt. So Sean Dyche should be proud of the way Burnley have really gone about their business. They've gone about it in a carefree spirit, and have said, right, Arsenal, you're not going to break us down easy. You might think you're going to get 3 easy points, but that's been far from the case so far. In fact, Burnley, if they can hold on in there for the next 12 minutes plus stoppage time, they may just get a bonus point, which would help them really in their cause. Remember, they've already had 2 wins already this season. They're on 7 points going into this game, and an 8th point would be a welcome one going into the international break. They've got a tough trip down to St Mary's. Judge Boyd has actually played in 6 previous games against Arsenal and has lost each one, including the 2014 FA Cup final when Holworth and his club then were whole, and they were 2 up, and it could have been 3 up inside the opening quarter of an hour of that final, and they went on to lose 3-2 after extra time. Good tackle again, and by Marnie, and it's got a chance here for Burnley to come forward again. Arfield in the centre of the field, plays it out to the far side. Marnie has it. To play it back though. 10 to play. Arsenal 0, Burnley 0. Good Ward with a good cross in there towards the edge of the area. Folks looking to get on the end of that. Tries to nod it on, but it will not be nodded on into the path of the goalkeeper Petr Cech. Cole makes the point that Burnley can really frustrate big teams when they actually work hard. They are one of the hardest working teams in the game, Carl, and I watch them more or less week in, week out. They were worthy championship champions because in the second half of the season they never stopped running in any game. The only time when they've really let themselves down in the championship was that 3-0 reverse at Hull. In the Premier League we've had a couple of bad displays though, against Chelsea at Stamford Bridge and against Leicester against Leicester at the King Power, but apart from that really we've acquitted ourselves in the league very well. Here we go, Arsenal again now, 0-0. 81 minutes gone, 9 to play. Little chip towards the back post, and it's knocked back across, and again Burnley will right place, right time again, and it's still not away properly. And here's Ozil, right hand side again, has to play the ball back, and Ozil gets it back a second time, gets the cross in again. Michael Keane first to the ball, and he was determined to win that ball even though he was unmarked. Arsenal laying siege now exclusively in the Burnley half, and Guy Marnie there winning another good challenge there. He loves a good 50-50 challenge, and I think that's the reason why probably Sean Dyche kept him on, because he can make intersections in an instant even at 32-33 years old. He's got that sort of presence about him, and as a former Tottenham youngster he'd love to put one on Arsenal. Tottenham won earlier today 2-0 against Manchester City. United dropped points against Stoke City at Old Trafford. The champions were frustrated in a 0-0 draw against Southampton. Are Burnley about to do the same to Arsenal? Frustrate them as Koscielny gets it back to Petr Cech. 82 minutes gone, less than 8 to play plus stoppage time. Here's Monreal up towards Sanchez. No foul, and good challenge there, says the referee, by Dean Marnie, who's run about 20-30 yards, but he's lacking a little bit of support. He has to play it back though to Stephen Ward, and plays it back to Boyd, back to Ward again. Should Arsenal have had a 3 kick? We know what Marnie's like, and Ashley has made a late call for man of the match. Keane is his man of the match, so we have 1 vote for Stephen Defoe, 1 vote for Keane, and it looks as if we're going to go deadlock again. Anybody else would like to comment on man of the match, please do so. Ball is badly over it and it's a goal kick. Jake Early says, come on Arsenal. He's an Arsenal fan by the sounds of it. If you want to vote for man of the match, Jake, and how you feel that the game is who deserves JB's man of the match, please get voting. You've got about just under 7 minutes to go. So get voting. Anyone who's listening, get voting. The man with the most, player with the most votes wins it. Remember, we're into the third day of the Ryder Cup. It's Europe 6.5 to America's 9.5. It could go either way, that Ryder Cup game. So if you're a golf fan, please tune in. I'm sure you'll be watching great interest, and I'm sure it'll beat an episode of The X Factor. And here comes Ward now for Burnley. Little chip forward towards George Boyd. And Boyd, and the header falls to Arfield here. Sometimes he's the man for the big occasion. Remember that goal he got against Chelsea 2 years ago on opening night. And here comes a chance here. Lawton with a cross. He'll get a second bite at the cherry. And unfortunately, both occasions the ball was charged down. But Burnley still credibly keeping possession here. Jeff Henrik. And here's Goodmanson. Lawton again to try in there towards Sam Vokes. It just wouldn't drop in that side of area for Sam Vokes. It was a lovely ball in from Lawton, by the way. And here come Arsenal on the counter-attack. It's 4 against 4. And again, Ben Mee. What a good tackle on the edge of the area. But still Arsenal have somehow got it for Alexis Sanchez. And then the shot comes in. And it's just wide from Theo Walcott. Just to the left of the D. And that was mighty, mighty close. Carl's made a bid for his vote for man of the match. He's gone for Granit Xhaka of Arsenal, so we'll just update on man of the match in a second as we just see Theo Walcott just put one wide there of the target. It's end-to-end stuff now. Burnley almost caught out on the counter-attack themselves. So man of the match, Granit Xhaka. 1 vote for him. 1 vote for Defoe. 1 vote for Michael Keane. Who else do you think? So we're at deadlock at the moment. It might be down to me again to make the decision. Anybody else have an opinion on man in the match? The JB man in the match. You've got about just under 5 minutes to vote, and then we'll announce the winner. We've got a player down on the floor here, and it's you would have thought it's our old friend Mustafi again. He's gone round as if he's been blatantly injured, and he's got up. I'm sick and tired of people like him. I really am. Okay, he's going for the ball here with Vokes. And he's gone down as if he's been shot by Lee Harvey Oswald. Sam Vokes clearly there looking at the ball. There is a flailing arm, but it's purely accidental. And Mustafi's trying to calm the referee. I'm not having that. I'm absolutely 100% not having that at all. That is ridiculous. Yes, there's a little cut, but he's going round as if he's been shot. Wenger's now having a pop at the line at 4th official Lee Mason. I don't think he's got any calls to. Absolutely disgraceful what Mustafi is doing there. Yes, it's an injury there. He's got a cut eye, but it's not a serious injury. It's the sort of thing a boxer would pick up after 12 rounds in the ring. He'd probably pick up more cuts and bruises than he would get during 90 minutes of a game, Mustafi. And he went around, he rolled and rolled and rolled around as if he'd been shot. I just don't understand these foreign players, why they have to do that. Is it the sympathy vote? I do not know. But one thing's for sure, the Premier League and the referees have to clean that sort of silly act up. Because quite frankly, it really annoys me. As we see a crossing from Chamberlain, which was an absolute appalling cross. And now a chance here for Vokes. He's actually led the line up top very well, just like he did on Monday night. And it looks as if without Andre Gray, our pacey front man, it looks as if, touch wood, that we might pick up 4 points from our first 2 games we have to put up without him. Of course, we miss him, of course, with the Southampton trip as well, which is a blow as well. I think he might have had a good time terrorising that Southampton defence, and of course we have a reunion with Jay Rodriguez. Here's a chance though for Arsenal. Now they could win it themselves. Oh, good opportunity there, but what about that for good skill there from Johan Bergman? He's had a good match as well. Wenger is frustrated, says the Kovac. Here comes Cazorla to Walk on edge of the area. Again, good block. Burnley really putting bodies on the line. 2 minutes of normal time to go. Jackpot has come on. Good evening, Jackpot. Come on, Clarity says. Vote for your man of the match, Jackpot. Who do you think should win man of the match? We have 1 vote for Xhaka, 1 vote for Defoe, 1 vote for Michael Keane. If anybody else votes for any of those 3 players, they will be the outright winner of the JB man of the match, and it would save me a job of having to make that decision. So anybody who's listening who think any of those 3, we're going to narrow it down to just these 3, choose one of those 3, and the next person to comment, whichever player it is, wins the JB man of the match. So you've got about just over a minute. 1 person, that's all we need for the vote. Ball played in there. Ben Mee with a super header away, and gets it down the field as it can. It will take Arsenal a few more seconds to retrieve it. We're in the last minute of the game, of normal time that is. And here is Phil Walker, midway inside Burnley territory. Xhaka has said Jackpot, and he will win JB's man of the match. And as a Burnley fan, it kills me. So if that's to say that, so Xhaka will win man of the match, even though in my opinion he's been ineffective. The people have voted, and Granit Xhaka is the JB man of the match. So we're at 90 minutes anyway, so Granit Xhaka is the man of the match. We not need any more votes. I've got to concentrate now on the stoppage time. I will read messages after the final whistle. Here's Walcott inside the penalty area, and again Ben Mee. What a tackle that was! Last ditch, and Burnley are hanging on in there. Seconds to go. Well, we'll get an indication from Lee Mason how much longer there's going to be added on. We have now played 90 minutes. How much longer? There's just 2 minutes for Arsenal to break Burnley down, and at the moment they don't look like doing so. Can Burnley hang on in there? Another brave block again, and bodies being thrown on the line. Dean Marley with another superb block. He's had a superb match yet again. Burnley just a minute and a half away, 90 seconds away from a crucial point here. But it's Arsenal on the attack here. Santi Cazorla now, midway inside Burnley territory. Ozil flicks it to the right hand side, and Bellerin with the cross. Can Burnley hold on in there? Another header away, but it's not far enough. Fuchs tries to flick it on. Burnley with virtually everybody back now inside their penalty box. And it's now a minute and 10 left on the stoppage time clock, as Ozil now comes forward now for Arsenal. They have to break this big Burnley barrier here. They've piled the proverbial bus. Michael Keane with another block again. He has really put his body on the line, and all Burnley's 11 players deserve a great pat on the back for keeping Arsenal so much, frustrating Arsenal for so long. They've just got over 45 seconds. They must keep on going. Ball played into the penalty area, and again well won there by Ben Mee. But Burnley with so many tired bodies back now, they've just got to keep defending until the bitter end. 30 seconds of time to go, and it will feel like a victory for Burnley if they hold on for a 0-0 here. Here come Arsenal once again, and it's Sanchez, last chance saloon for Arsenal, shot over the top, and that will be that. Chamberlain fires over with his right foot, and Burnley now will surely see it out and gain a huge point, and it will feel like 3 for Burnley today. In fact, it's not all over yet, it's a corner. We haven't finished yet. We have got one more chance for Arsenal. They've taken it short. Here's Ozil. There's one more head on that. And has it gone in? Oh no, it's gone in! I don't believe it! I just actually do not believe it! It's Chamberlain, and Arsenal have somehow heartbroken Burnley hearts! And how cruel this game of football can really be! Arsene Wenger, lucky manager. Burnley did not deserve that. They deserved a clean sheet, and we played blatantly 5 or 10 seconds over the time added on. The referee should have blown for time. And was there oh, they looked at handball in there as well. That is unbelievable. Cruel look on the Clarets, and we do not deserve that. We do not deserve that whatsoever. That is an appalling decision. If that's a handball, it's an appalling decision. It's clearly Kashabitan. The referee's in a horrific position, and that is one of the most ridiculous decisions I have seen from a referee all season. should not stand. That should not stand. And Arsenal have cheated. They've cheated Burnley out of the game. There should have been a point for the Clarets. That is cheating. Because Shelby will probably get the credit. But it was a clear handball. And they have won, Arsenal, in my opinion, in the most undeserved and unsatisfactory manner. They can smile and they can be happy with themselves. But the referee, Lee Mason, he will be public enemy number one in Burnley tonight. Burnley will feel hard done by. Wenger can walk off content and he can wave to the crowd. But I'm sorry, I'm not having that decision. The referee totally missed that. He was in a terrific position. And Burnley have been done by a poor refereeing decision. Leah, and I have to say, Craig Pawson, hang your head in shame. And the Burnley players surrounding the referee, they feel robbed. And so do we, the Burnley supporters. Jackpot says, are you kidding me? He can smile, Alexis Sanchez can smile, but Arsenal don't deserve that. And it's again, the referee decisions favour the big teams, and not for the first time. We've seen it happen again today. Jeff Henrik distraught. Burnley all distraught. They deserve something from this game. They defended manfully. Ben Mee had a terrific game. But I'm sorry, Arsenal have won it, but they've won it in a totally unsatisfactory manner. And I'm sorry to be so blunt. I'm sorry to be honest. I've got to be honest. They have won it by cheating. And they Arsenal fans, they know they've been in a match that they didn't deserve 3 points from that game. They have won it by cheating. Blatant handball. Oh, that is so cruel. That is so cruel. He at least calls that the decency to say that Burnley were brilliant, but that, I'm afraid that decision is a... I can't get my head around that decision. Anyway, the results from earlier today: Manchester United 0-1, Stoke 1, so Stoke getting a point from that one. Leicester 0, Southampton 0, a dire match at the King Power. Spurs winning, bringing the title race right up with a 2-0 victory over Manchester City. And Arsenal, by cheating in my opinion, have won at the Turf Moor when the referee Craig Pawson should have blown. But it's not a disaster for Burnley. They're still in a good position, 14th. They're still a good 3 points outside the drop zone. So, you know, we can't be too depressed. But in the manner in which it happened, it was an absolute tough one to take. Arsenal, undeservedly, thanks to that piece of cheating from Cazorla, they move up to 3rd above Liverpool. But it's tight even at this early stage. Everton, Manchester United are 6th, Chelsea back in 7th position. Well, what more can you say about that? The Ryder Cup will start in a moment or two. Remember, Europe trailing by 3 points, 6.5 to America's 9.5. And the World Grand Prix darts obviously start there in Dublin as well. Celta Vigo play Barcelona. Carl says, sorry there JB mate, I feel for you. Well, there's no sympathy. I mean, that's fair enough, Carl. I mean, at least you're a fair-minded fan. It's a shame really when the game has to be decided on decisions like that, and I feel very upset. And but we will try and get reaction from Sean Dyche before we end the programme. But I mean, I'd like to see. I've seen 2 replays, and Cazorla not Cazorla, Koscielny has bundled it in with 2 hands. The referee should have spotted it, given a 3 kick to Burnley. Oh, I'm devastated. Burnley played absolutely magnificently. They defended. Let's talk about the positive aspects of Burnley's performance. They could have scored themselves at the point in the second half with a bullet header from Gudmundsson. Let's give Petr Cech some credit. He made 2 super saves, one from Michael Keane and one from Johan Berg Gudmundsson, which really turned the tide on its head. But well, I don't think. Well, I've got two questions to ask the referee. Why wasn't the whistle blown after 2 minutes of stoppage time? And why was he not given a free kick for a blatant handball by Koscielny on Burnley's goal line, and that knocked the ball into the back of the net? And you can understand the frustrations of the Burnley players. Hopefully we'll get some reaction from Sean Dyche. I'm sure he'll play the whole incident down, but if I was Sean Dyche, I'd be seething with him, with the referee right now, because that decision could cost Burnley in the long run. But when you look at it from the bigger picture, this was a free hit for Burnley, considering they had that terrific result on Monday night. But the manner in which that goal came is a tough one to stomach for any Burnley fan. Not just me. I didn't mean to say that. I mean, the Cool Vat says at 90+2 the match should have finished and should have been blown, and then the handball, very lucky for Arsenal. No, I've got to agree with you there. If you haven't subscribed, Cool Vat and Carl, Maxima, good to have you with us today. Please subscribe, because the more subscribers we have, the more it is. I've no hard feelings towards you, Carl. You're an Arsenal fan. Happy to, and I will say a happy 20th anniversary to Wenger. So I won't be bitter about it, but I just want referees to get it right and not on the team that they're refereeing. You know, why should one big team get a decision over the other one? And I wasn't trying to be anti-Arsenal, because a lot of fans in the world are sometimes anti-Arsenal, but that decision should not. I mean, that decision should have been a free kick to Burnley. And it won't take long for me to get over. It'll probably take the rest of the evening to get over and calm down. But there's a very element of disappointment in my voice. But Burnley deserved a point. I'll tell you what, they deserve 3. And if there were points awarded on work rate and effort alone, I think Burnley would have had 3. They never ever stopped running from the moment they started and finished the match, and from there on in they were just superb. Arsenal kept at bay. I'm not sure who got the final touch. Will it go down as a Chamberlain goal? I'm not sure who they credited the goal to. We'll just find out in a second or two. But it's a cruel look. Let's have a look at a few Facebook messages as well, commenting on the game, of course, and I'll have my 10 penneth on that as well. Let's be honest, the referee's public enemy number 1. Let's have a look at what happened. Well, one of my good friends, Chris Needham, he says cheating set of so-and-so's Arsenal, go away. I'm not sure he has, and that's just the nice version of it. There was a lot of swearing on these. Just trying to look for more. More reactions. It's been a good 5 or 6 minutes since the final whistle. Let's have a look at some of the comments. There's a few. There's a guy, some Burnley Football Club. A few commenters there. One says referee bottled it. Big team mentality again. Little team lose out. I could not agree with you more on that. That was ugly and undeserved. Credit to Burnley, and that's coming from an Arsenal fan. One woman says handball. How did the referee not see it? It was right in front of him, and I couldn't agree more with that. Another woman says cheating handball goal. Furious, unlucky lad. You did not deserve that. Another woman has responded saying we were robbed. Darren Hargreaves, another Burnley fan, says handball. Another there's a few other people there. I can't. Handball, offside. Well, there might have been an offside decision there, potentially there, but it's. I just think the referee was a joke, and that was the one big decision. And up until then, I thought he'd refereed the match really well, and he's ruined it for himself with one with one terrible decision, and that's what's upset me. Oh, it's unbelievable, and I will not be doing any Arsenal interviews because they don't deserve. I don't think they deserve it. Now let's see who got man of the match. I'd like to see who got. They're going to give it to Xiaomi. I think the television guys man of the match. I don't think they deserve. And any of those two should be anywhere near it. They're being interviewed now for television. I will not pick up that interview purely on principle because those two have cheated Burnley out of a point. If you think I'm being biased, I'm not. It's just that I will not do the interview. I will not show the interview at all because I just think it'd be the wrong thing to do. Granit Xhaka was quoted the man in the match by JB listeners, so well done to Granit Xhaka. He didn't have a bad game. I didn't think he had his best game. And this is the goal again. I've just seen a replay. It clearly hits him on the hand. He's also clearly standing about 2 yards offside. The goal should not have stood. I've seen a replay of that, and the goal should not have counted. I'm going to stay with it until Sean Dyche comes out to speak to the media, and then we'll wrap the show up. But it's a terrible decision from the referee, and one thing I would like to say, and I'm going to throw it back to you people who are listening to me right now. Do you think, here's a question for all you listeners out there, and anybody else who does listen to this stream a bit later on when it's on demand on my YouTube channel a bit later. So anyone listening live or anyone who might listen later on like Kevin Benson or one or two others, I'm going to throw a question at you. Should referees come out, be questioned by the journalists why they give why they give certain decisions, whether it's right or wrong? Let me know in the comments, neither live now on the right hand side or later on if you're watching this a bit later on in the comments section below. Let me know, folks, one way or the other. Should referees come out, face the media and explain some contentious refereeing decisions they make week in, week out? Of course they give, but listen, I'm not saying this to witch hunt referees. I want them to come out and be honest with everybody, with the fans, the supporters. They pay 30-40 quid to go and watch a football match each and every week. Now I want you to tell me, should referees come out in front of the media, in front of all these, from the television cameras, in front of the radio people and all these newspaper journalists, and explain why they make contentious decisions week in and week out? I know they're human beings and I know they can't get every decision right, but that decision at the end there was so goddamn blindingly obvious that should have been given as handball. And a lot of Burnley fans are on social media now, and I've just read a few of the Facebook comments out on the official Facebook feed of Burnley Football Club, and I mean, I think it's a terrible decision, and Burnley was so in there for a point. I feel sick as a parrot. Another guy saying cheating sub and so-and-sos. I can't really say that too much. Claret's turf. I'll tell you something, we did not deserve that one bit. We by far matched Arsenal for 93 plus minutes today. Proud of the lads. Proves how far we've come to be gutted to lose to Arsenal. Onwards and upwards, we are Burnley up the Claret, says Claret's turf. That's a Burnley fan site. Let's see some of the comments from that. Claret's turf's heartbroken, cheating sub and so-and-sos. One guy says incredible effort, and the lads obviously need to hold their head up high after that performance. It was a tremendous, heroic display which deserves something better reward than no points. Mark Davison, he says, it's just wrong when the refs saw it, but it's a big club. Will we get that decision at the Emirates? Yeah, there's another question there. And still doesn't make it easy to take. Devastated, says one person. Another guy says robbed. Now, let's have a look at this again. I've got to replay. Sanchez's cross there. There's a flick on, and it clearly comes off the hand. Now, let's have a look at the referee's position here. There's the ball in, and I honestly think there could be a case for two things. Personally, a blatant handball, and 2, was Koscielny in an offside position. And I think there are elements of this goal that are goddamn illegal, and the referee, I think the referee can see that. I don't think Jeff Hendrick's blinding him at all one bit, and I think the referee should be held accountable for what went on in that goal mouth right at the end. And I think Burnley have been robbed by a refereeing decision which is a joke, quite honestly. And the linesman on the near side, he's in a perfect position to see that as well. How on earth can you give a goal where he's clearly hit his hand and gone in the net? It's like Maradona in '86 all over again. When are officials going to team up and get decisions right? It's disgraceful. Clear handball. Was there an offside? Well, we don't know. Going back to some of the comments, Jamie Cockney so-and-so's. One guy says handball, cheating so-and-so's. Hope Dyche complains and has this analysed. Cheating so-and-so's. A nice comment there. Well done, lads. We're just waiting for Sean Dyche, by the way. These are some of the comments that have been put on social media. I'm only reading them out. I'm only quoting what they've said. So if you're deeply offended by some of the language on there, I do apologise. The answer to your question, says Kulvats, is no, because then they'll think twice before taking a big call, and the amount of scrutiny they may face afterwards, and then maybe, yeah, but you know, then. Yeah, but players and managers, my point is though, Kulvats, is that players and managers have to go out and speak to the media. Anyway, anyway, Michael Keane is with Sky Sports now. And to lose like that in the last FIFA game for the second time in a couple of weeks is tough to take.
And what about the circumstances of the goal as well? Is there a feeling in your dressing room that perhaps it shouldn't have been given?
Yeah, obviously I've not seen it back on here, and it was first of all, I think, handball and offside, so you hope these things come back for you throughout the season. It's a dodgy decision, but we just got to get on with it.
The way you all played today, after the work you put in, after the way you defended, you deserve something out of this at least, didn't you?
Yeah, definitely. I think anyone would say that. I thought we defended really well. We all know Arsenal are a top-class team. They've got great players, but we limited them to very little chances, and unlucky not to score a few of our own, especially I think. I don't know if the keeper saved my header off the bar, but one of them days we're very disappointed, but we can take a lot from it.
Did you think you might have made a breakthrough with that header?
Yeah, we did, yeah. Did you touch on it?
As possibly as it came back off the bar.
Okay, alright, okay, yeah. I just got up early, got a good head on it, and you never know what's going to happen, but yeah, it's one of those things. I wish I'd got in.
Cruel circumstances to lose a game, but are there plenty of positives you can take out of this performance today?
Definitely, I think we've not come to this occasion looking scared at all. We've come in, took it by the scruff of the neck, and I think we've played some great stuff today. Like I say, defended unbelievably well, and if we keep playing like that, we'll pick up a lot of points.
Well, commiserations, but you are the Premier League man of the match. Many congratulations to you.
Well, you got the television award, the Man of the Match award, but it's a little consolation to Michael Keane. I could probably tell in the interview there where he was a little bit frustrated there at the referee at the end, and actually Keane did hit the bar. Now, I thought Petr Cech had made the save. It was a good header. In fact, he did hit. It was a combination of Petr Cech's hand and the crossbar which kept Keane out from scoring on that occasion. But and if that goes in, then we wouldn't have all this nonsense now, would we? And it's but. Going back to what the Kulvat said, answers your question. Well, why? I'm going to throw it back at you. Why should managers and players come out and face the media and not referees? They are also, along with the 22 players and the 2 managers, the main protagonists in the game of football. It'd be nice to see a bit of honesty in the game. That's why I'm arguing for referees to come out and explain their decisions, and that's why I'm all for having referees come out and face the media, explain the decision, and then dissect the decision, and then do it. I mean, if at the end of the day, we want opinions from every angle. We want it from the 2 teams who the referees ref, and we want to see it from the referee's point of view anyway. Anyway, we'll be listening to, hopefully we'll be listening to, anyway, Sean Dyche is coming up in a couple of minutes time. In the meantime, anyone want to dissect on the question I just asked? Should referees be accountable and come out and face the media, the television journalists, the radio press and the written press after each and every game and explain the reasons as to why they make the big decision? My case in point is this: if players and managers are under Premier League laws to come out and face the media after every game, shouldn't referees come out and account themselves for why they make decisions? You know, if they did that and say why, then wouldn't that clear up a lot of bad blood in the game? Kovacs has come back and says because the referee then has to keep take a call in mind in media scrutiny, hence it may affect the decision. So he reckons no. What do you other guys think? Do you think referees should be accountable? Kovacs says no. Anyone here who agrees with me, perhaps, that referees should come out and explain themselves as to why? I don't think they'd get criticised. I think it'd be good, actually, good for the game if they came out and explain the decision, and I don't think people would have too many arguments. At the end of the day, ladies and gentlemen, the game's about debate. Supporters now from this game tonight are going to go into the pub, the local pubs in Burnley, whether it's the Burnley or whether it's the Wetherspoons pub in Burnley or any of these pubs in Burnley, the Turf pub was round the corner from the ground. They're going to go in there and they're going to debate and dissect the game over a pint and all that, and they want to. And I'm sure a lot of the fans at the ground today will probably want to see referees just explain the decisions, and maybe that just takes a lot of heat out of the situation. I mean, referees in the olden days, 20, 30 years ago, would come out in front of the journalists and explain decisions, and they weren't afraid to make their opinions. At the end of the day, we want to make sure that referees get counted. You know, we want to make sure we want to see it from a referee point of view. You know, you hear both sides of each team, whoever's been on the wrong end of the decision or the right end of the decision, but surely the referees have just got to explain it. All it needs is an explanation as to why, whether it's right or wrong, where he's made the decision, and that way you get a lot of honesty back in the game and you get a lot more respect, and the referees will get a lot more respect, and I think that's the way that it has to be done. Kovacs obviously doesn't agree with me. Anybody else agree with Kovacs or agree with me? We'd like to hear all your feedback, that's for sure. We may well not hear from Sean Dyche at this point in time yet, we don't know yet, but well, it's a disappointing day for Burnley Football Club. They were within an ace of getting a point out of the game. It looks as if 3 points have been cruelly snatched away from them right at the final knock-ins. And I don't think we're going to hear from Sean Dyche or Arsene Wenger anyway, but I'm sure Sean Dyche would probably say afterwards that his side worked extremely hard. The framework they put in place was terrific, and to come out of this game with no points is a devastation, really. So I'm afraid that's about it from me tonight. Unfortunately, we're not going to get the opportunity to speak to Sean Dyche, but I'm sure you'll certainly hear what he had to say on Sky Sports News a bit later on. But well, we heard from Michael Keane. He seemed very disappointed, despite winning the Television Man of the Match award. It's not to be, I'm afraid, for Burnley Football Club. They gave it their best shot against Arsenal today. They were superb to a man. They were absolutely extraordinary, but it wasn't meant to be for them this afternoon. but they can hold their heads up high. They go into the Southampton game. Sure, they've lost today, and they've lost in such a controversial manner that it's terrible to take. But plenty of positives. Defensively, they were sound to a man, and I have no doubts that if they keep performing like that for the rest of the season, they will take some beating, and I honestly believe they will stay up. But they were robbed today by a referee who should have spotted, and a linesman who should have spotted, one, a blatant handball by Koscielny, and two, a blatant offside by Koscielny. Again, it's all about the big teams getting the decisions, and quite frankly, it's getting ridiculous. But for me, JB, I've enjoyed the rest of your weekend. Burnley have lost today, but have lost with dignity and with pride. But unfortunately, the referee comes out of it with little credibility at all. Keep watching out though for the channel for more FIFA 16 content. The editing's going to be done as soon as I've finished here, and I'm sure you'll look forward to episode 3 of the career mode very soon. But for me, JB, take care. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. Good night.